Johan, let's start with today's news from the World Cup. Willi Heinz starts for England against the USA, and he looks very at home in a white international jersey, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, I mean, credit to Willi. His progress, or being selected first of all, we're proud of him, and then we've seen in the warm-up games and even in this week that he's definitely at home there. He showed a lot of good things. He's a quality player, and in a short space of time he proved that at that level.
And Polledri and Callum Braley also start for Italy against Canada on Thursday. I suppose what you want, if you're going to lose players to the tournament, you want them to be playing, don't you?
No, for sure. It's good. Obviously, they've trained hard. Everybody, I suppose, every nation has worked extremely hard up until the World Cup, and now it's all about game time. And it's good to see the boys in the mix and getting that game time. And like we've always said, hopefully when they come back, they not just bring that game time sharpness, but they bring that experience that they've picked up back to the club and that can feed off some other players.
Is it a strange thing for you to be supporting players of other teams? Because obviously they're your players, as well as supporting South Africa?
No, definitely. In the past you only had one team to follow, but now you've got a bit in 3-4 different nations, and the reality is you want them to do well, and that means you follow them closely. And I think even the whole England team, because we play against the likes of Saracens and Exeter, etc. You really want those players to do well because you feel you do well, and then obviously you're a home nation, you always want to do well.
I suppose actually if teams have got more England players who you might be meeting in the early rounds of the Premiership are without one or two of those, that might help Gloucester as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think, like I said earlier, this year, I don't think because of the depth that when the Premiership start, there's so many games left since that players return. I don't think that the first part, maybe the odd team will be weaker until those players return, but in general the squads will be strong, and it won't have a major effect on the outcome of the Premiership. Those players will return by then, and yet you have to win still very good sides to get there.
You talk about players learning at the World Cup. What about young players learning for Gloucester last weekend against London Irish? How happy were you with the performances there? Because, such a young team.
Yeah, we've got the two extremes. You've got those players that's learning at the highest level, and then you've got, like you said, on the weekend we've got young players who was a few months ago still at school and played under 18 rugby, and now they've got a quick learning curve. I think it's great. I think it's a fast track for those players to learn what they need to grow on, what they need to work on, and it's brilliant to experience that pressure situation in front of a King's Own crowd, but also playing against experienced players. So that's what we're going to need more from, and the reality is with the salary cap and with the depth of the squads and with us players injured and players away for the World Cup, you don't know what guy's going to put up his hand, and that this gives us an indication to see how the young guys are developing.
And people like Charlie Chapman and Aaron Hinkley, I suppose, been knocking on the door for a little while. There's a real opportunity now for them, isn't there?
Yeah, Aaron has shown what he could do, and was in good form for the England under-20s, and I'm glad that he's keep taking that forward. I want him to put pressure on the senior guys. For me, age is irrelevant. If a guy is 34 and he plays, he's the best, then I'll pick him. If he's 19 or 18, he's the best and he's doing the job, I'll pick him. So those players got a really shot if they play well and if they put the pressure on those players. And obviously, like I just said, it's important to know that your depth is there, and those guys are doing it. And even a guy like Lloyd, Lloyd can play well and put pressure on Danny.
Obviously, you've got a squad's worth of experienced players yet as well. Presumably they're chomping at the bit. Will there be a bit more of an experienced look to the team at Bristol on Friday?
Yeah, we obviously will mix and match in the next 4 weeks and see where players are. And there's some players that maybe will only play as they return from injury, but this coming week we're going to make a lot of changes and like you said, probably give some of the more experienced players a bit of a hit out as we come gradually closer to that Premiership start.
And so for those players, the West Country derby actually, it's going to be an intense occasion anyway. Is that actually a good game to sort of blood them back in with?
Yeah, it's a good game. I think all the teams will be strong as they will play around with their squads. the challenging thing is that you know it's still a few weeks to go till Premiership really kicks off, but there's players that has to be unfortunately play 80 minutes, you know, of rugby, because it's not a rotational system, it's not a friendly, so you have to get the balance right of having players really fit, and now the pressure's already on, you know, when you play let's say a 30-man squad, you can accept that maybe cohesion and a bit of rhythm goes out. Now it's a full-blooded match. You've got your 15 guys, and they must keep that rhythm through the whole 80 minutes. So it's brilliant, you know, to start against a side that we know is playing a great style of rugby, is well coached with Pat, and that beaten us last year there. So it's actually a great challenge for us.
What were your thoughts on their 24-12 defeat at Harlequins? Because obviously, like you, they'll be looking for their first win of the season.
Yeah, again, you know, it's a competition that I suppose every club is taking serious. But then again, I don't want to read too much in the results because of the nature of where this competition fit in. I think coaches will trial stuff. They will rotate their squad, and they will, you know, test stuff that maybe on the day won't work. I think the reality is we know that each side has got the capability to beat the other side, and we have to, you know, prepare as well as we can. Play. We ourselves want to, you know, test some stuff and trial some stuff, and you want to get match fitness in as well, and reassess where you are, and obviously fix that as the weeks go by. So I don't, you know, they're going to come out like anything at home. You want to have a proud home record, but the reality is we can't take any results for granted. It's still a quality side.
And I suppose after the length of pre-season you've had, everyone just wants to get cracking, don't they?
No, there's definitely, you know, there's some players that, you know, obviously has a long while since they haven't played, and they'll be, you know, looking forward to get a bit of contact and getting a bit of game time under the belt, because at the end of the day you can train as much as you want to, you know, by almost protecting the players and simulating the game. You don't always get that as the real McCoy is playing, and that's what we're looking forward to.